Welcome to The Scoop with Dukes. I'm your host, Philip Dukes, aka Dukes the Scoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Dukes the Scoop. And please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. If you have not become a member of the channel already, please, by all means, go to the item description, hit the link, and become a member. We have varying levels of support, and we appreciate all your membership for keeping this content coming at you consistently. Thank you. All right, this is an AU scoop, and I've got a friend of the show, one of the most plugged in men in Auburn, Mike G. Mike G, what's up, big dog?
I'm good. It was a busy day on the
Busy day.
plains. They introduced Alex Golesh as Auburn's 33rd head football coach today. Um, it was more packed than Freeze's conference 3 years ago.
Wow.
When I tell you, they turned out today. Every TV station, and they did it in the recruiting center at the stadium instead of at the Waltos Performance Center, that little media room that we have over there.
Right.
So it was a little different. Excuse me, Dukes. But I they did a tiger walk for him coming in.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. They did a tiger walk for him coming in, and it was the band and the cheerleaders, and I was watching everybody very closely.
Mhm.
John Cohen spoke first. He thanked Quentin Riggins for helping with the process,
Big Q.
and I like when they tap former players and people who know what Auburn is, right? Like, so
Mhm.
bringing him into the process, I think, was a good thing. And then he talked about calling Golesh Sunday night. Essentially, it was Sunday morning, like 3 a.m. in the morning, say, hey, you got the job. And uh, a lot of dominoes had to move for Golesh to fall to Auburn and for, what's the face, Summerall to go to Florida. Lane now is at LSU. Ole Miss promoted P. Golding, the head coach. A
Mhm.
lot of moving parts in the SEC right now. Looks like Kentucky's got a job opening right now.
I think
Auburn
they,
really felt
I
like
think
they
they're
got
gonna
their guy.
hire Will Stein from Oregon.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yep.
Look, Auburn really feels like they got their guy. I
Good.
like what he had to say. He said he was asked a question today about finishing games and Auburn coming so close. And he said, look, man, you have to train to win the fourth quarter. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to train your fourth quarter mentality
Mhm.
as long as I'm head coach. And I said this on a show that you and I did previously. I think Freeze fell into the trap of thinking that he could out recruit that lack of development.
Okay.
And I like that Golesh feels is going to focus on development always. Go get your 5 stars, man. Go get your Cam Colemans. Those kids still need development, Dukes.
Yeah.
They still need guidance. They still need to be coached up. That's what
Right.
Saban was doing. That's when you can put both of those things together, high
Mhm.
level recruiting and high level development, you get dynasties.
Right.
But you see coaches that can recruit at a high level, but they lack in development, or they can develop at a high level, but they lazy in recruiting, and you get okay, but not great, or you get a championship every once in a while, or you get in the conversation every once in a while.
Mhm.
That's Lane Kiffin, right?
Right.
He developed with the best of them, but
Right.
his recruiting is kind of so-so.
Right.
And so they get up to the door every year and can't get over the hump. Will he be able to do both at LSU? That man
Right.
has. I had the last question of the press conference, and I'm like, look, man, are you going to run a real QB competition this spring? I don't know if he picked up that. That's what I was asking. I was trying to ask you very politically, but like, I was like, look, man, what is your plan for identifying your guy at QB and getting to that quickly? Because he said that he feels like the system has to be molded around the talent. All right, well, then you need to know who's starting at quarterback so you can mold the system around that guy, right? What's
Mhm.
your plan for getting there quickly with your quarterback so you know what kind of system you're running?
Right.
And he looked me dead in my face, humble brag. I think I was the only reporter of the day where he looked at me and said, "That's a good question."
Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah,
like that. Okay,
yeah.
Mike
And so
G.
I was like, all right, like he
Yeah.
was feeling it. And in classic Mike G fashion, I met him after, and I had to set up my one-on-one interview
Right.
for later. So he agreed to our one-on-one sit down. We sat down with Freeze like 3 or 4 times. I'm looking forward to sitting down with Coach Golesh'S. But I like what he had to say. I think I like the attitude that he's bringing to the table. Now it's got to result in wins, or it's all for not all this talking. We hadn't heard it before, but
Yeah.
we'll see what he's going to do. He said he met with the players. I've talked to a few players since he met with them to try to take their tone, get their tone on how they're feeling about him. So we'll see how the messaging resonates.
What do you think is priority one? Now we know what he said. He said priority one is talking to the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Priority one, whether it's a person, staff member, player, or it's an overall concept. What is priority one if you're Alex Golesh?
I think he said it in the press conference. Figure out who's in and who's out.
Okay.
He talked a lot about figuring out which guys want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that priority one for him is figure out who wants to be on my football team. Whatever version of Auburn football existed before Alex Golesh got here, forget it.
Right.
Do you want to be part of this thing that we're building? So priority number one has to be communicate what this thing is and then figure out who wants to be a part of it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Is Deuce Knight going to be a part of it? We've seen how talented he is. I'll be so disappointed if he lets Deuce walk out the door without seriously trying to re-recruit that young man.
Yeah, I know for a fact they're gonna re-recruit him, and I think that's already happening.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I believe it is.
yeah,
I believe it is.
but I'll say this: he has some this. He's gonna have some decisions to make. Now, when you look at the quarterback he had, now you look at Byron Brown from South Florida. He has another year of eligibility, and some people think that he may be on his way. I don't know.
Is he bringing his guy? Yeah, is he bringing his guy?
That's a rumor. Who's played in some big games, but this year I think he had over 3,000 yards passing at South Florida. I believe he broke a lot of records. So this is a guy who that if he went into the portal, he would get a ton of interest, especially for quarterback needy teams. Auburn doesn't strike you as a quarterback needy team with Ashton Daniels and Deuce Knight. Now, when you look at some of the early returns from staffing, this looks like he has total autonomy. Do you? What's been your take on some of the early staff moves or some of the early hires or some of the early departures? You see Kenyatta Watson was the first to announce his departure as he takes a step up to go to be a GM at his alma mater, Boston College. But what has struck you so far when it comes to how he's running the program?
So he's bringing Cody Burns.
Yep. Auburn guy.
Right. And
gotta help. That's gotta help.
Cody is to Alex what Travaris Robinson was to Will Muschamp.
Okay.
You know what I mean? In terms of like an assistant that's followed him everywhere, and he really believes in his potential as a young coach. He's very willing to continue to reinvest in Cody at every stop. He knows he's got to hit the ground running, which is why I think there's very little chance that there's a lot of people retained on this staff, because you need people who know your process and can, I don't have to start over trying to recommunicate a vision. So I bring my guys in, we transfer it from South Florida to Auburn and we keep it pushing. There's some other potential moves that they're going to make. I will tell you, Kenyatta's position I see is more administrative than anything, kind of like a scout, where they're not really, they're kind of head coach agnostic. If you can identify talent, you can identify talent. So there's no real need, if a guy is good at that, to let him walk out the door. I don't understand how Auburn let Kenyatta walk out the door. I really don't. And quite honestly, the news broke on Twitter today about Kenyatta. I did get a chance to talk to him. And I know you have a relationship there too, so I'm gonna keep what he told me private. I just feel like, what is Auburn doing, man? This was a miss.
Yeah, I mean,
this was a miss, and I don't necessarily put that on Golesh.
No, this was already.
Yeah, right. Like I put this on athletic department administration.
Yeah, this was that deal didn't get announced. This wasn't a Golesh deal where we call you the night before and all you're here now. This, I think Auburn had an opportunity, but when you get an opportunity at your alma mater to go be a GM, right? You got to make it hard for somebody to say, hey, don't go to your alma mater and become a GM. So I think there could have been a little more done, but I wasn't there. I'm just going off of, I've talked to both sides a little bit about that whole thing. So I just wish him the best at this point. He's good at what he does, and it's part. I'll say this: it's not on Golesh. I don't think I don't think they got an opportunity to really re-recruit Kenyatta the way they would have liked to, not knowing because they didn't know they were getting the job. What have you heard? Now I've heard a few things. What have you heard about the process of hiring Golesh? What have you heard about this midnight phone call? What have you heard about? Was there an agreement made with anybody else ahead of time? Take me through what you understand about the last, I don't know, 48 hours?
Well, like going back to Summerall, Auburn clearly was interested in Summerall.
Right.
They had a deal on the table, and he let other things freak him out about the job. And I got to tell you, Summerall came out looking bad in all this to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Sure. You got talked out of the job. Now, somebody sent this to me, I think, because him and Golesh are both Dowdle clients.
Yeah.
And someone said, is this a Dowdle Dipsy do where he just got both of his guys hired somewhere?
Dowdle a monster.
Yeah, where both were interested in Summerall, but only one was interested in Golesh. So you got Golesh to the only school you could have got him to, and you got Summerall to one of the two.
Right.
So it could have been that. I mean, that's 4D chess right there. That's 4D chess.
Does he have Silverfield too? I think he does.
Yeah, Silverfield. I think he's got Silverfield. So
baby Jimmy.
Yeah. Look, so okay, maybe that's what's happening, and that's high level conspiracy stuff. But what I do know is that at the end of the day, Auburn was very interested in Summerall. But if you're going to be moved by rumors and innuendo, he wasn't the guy for Auburn.
Let me ask you this.
I'm glad that exposed itself before he got hired.
Did you hear that he was going to be given full autonomy, or were there going to be halves?
I heard, full autonomy. Full autonomy. Okay. Right? I was told the whole idea that you were going to be forced to keep this guy or do this or do that is a myth. And nobody's making Golesh do anything. And I think that you'll see already, right? Like he was asked about Durkin. His answer told me that Durkin might be out the door.
Right.
Which would blow up any narrative that said that he was going to be told to keep Durkin. Now, Durkin has a saying, this is what people don't understand, because we don't know. Well, I do know, but I'm not willing to talk about it. I just think Durkin thought he had a shot at the job.
I think Durkin really thought
he had a shot at the job.
I think it got to the point where Durkin probably thought there were some people that feel as if Durkin was told that he was the guy. Okay. And look,
okay, for anybody, let's talk about it.
So for anybody out there right now, we have not rehearsed this. We are both just, hey, this is what we're both hearing. And some of you guys, I want you guys to comment. I don't care. Put what you heard in the chat. Nobody can tell us what to say.
May have gone to sleep Saturday night thinking that he was going to wake up Sunday morning as Auburn's next head coach.
1,000%. I heard the exact same thing from a really good source, and I think they said it the same way.
Mm-hmm. And the announcement, in the morning, may have felt like a rug pull.
So, okay, I also heard Durkin wasn't there during that staff meeting where they announced who the guy was going to be. And I got this from somebody really,
I didn't get that one. I didn't get that one.
Yeah, so the staff meeting when he was announced, you could kind of tell that there was like a little bit of shock. Like, oh shit. Oh snap!
Mm-hmm.
It's really Golesh because it was a foregone, and I saw people talking about it. Like, we talk like J Boy, Jay Crane. Shout out to Jay Crane. Jay Crane wasn't wrong when he said, DJ Durkin is going to be your coach, because it's the same way. Now he was wrong because of what happened afterwards, but it's the same way everyone thought that John Sumrall was the guy, because that's what the overwhelming majority of the news and the smoke coming out of the Auburn football facility said, that it was John Sumrall. I mean, to the point. Now I can say this now. They thought they were coming. I'm already talking to some of their recruiting staffers already. Hey, what you know about this guy? What you know about this guy? They thought they were coming.
Yeah. Summerall's camp was the one doing all the talking. They were doing all the talking.
For sure.
Right. Auburn wasn't really talking, but internally, we know they made a run at him. It didn't work. And I've tried to dispel the notion that Auburn, like Cohen, is picking coordinators for his coaches. He ain't doing that. Man, you got to know John to know that he's not doing that. All right. Because, they have to qualify the coach has to qualify whether somebody's qualified to be a coordinator under them. But AD can't do that. And I would not want any coach that doesn't want that responsibility of picking his coordinators. And John doesn't want that. However, what he did do was he was trying to clear the road for those guys to get the coordinators that they wanted. So while you're interviewing for the job, I'm imagining that one of the interview questions is, what does your staff look like? If you say, oh, well, I like Buster Faulkner, and he may be interested. All right, let me go see if I can pave the road for that. That's where Buster's name came from. Not, oh, well, we think you should hire him as offensive coordinator. No.
Yeah.
That's not what happened.
I find it hard to believe. I find it very hard to believe that DJ Durkin wasn't at least pitched in some way, shape, or form to Sumrall.
Yeah. I think that when you're talking about keeping him, I'm choosing my words very carefully right now.
Okay, yeah. Let's be very politically correct here. Okay, we're having a high level conversation that we usually do not have.
Yeah,
on screen.
I think that he was last year. We know he was one of the most sought after defensive coordinators in the country. Ohio State made a run at DJ Durkin. Auburn had to break the bank to keep him. That's why he got that big raise, was because other people were after him. That's not debatable. That is a fact.
True.
So why wouldn't he still be one of the most sought after coordinators in the country, even by your potential head coaching candidates in this cycle, if he was last cycle, based on what the defense did this year? If anything, his resume got stronger, right?
Right.
You just held Bama to 280 yards total in the Iron Bowl.
With the Heisman candidate.
They lost. But, that defense held and held. The offense didn't do nothing for a quarter and a half to start the game. That's where the game was lost, as far as I'm concerned. Now, so, yes, if he was pitched to them, like, hey, we do like DJ. It's up to you, but we like DJ, and keeping him may make player retention easier for you. I think that's how it was pitched to him.
Okay,
not
I can go for it.
You need to hire this guy or else.
Right.
But people keep forgetting. You ask what DJ wants is a factor here too.
Right. Hold on 1 second, Mike. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, we're back. So listen, so how do you think it really went? All right. So I got my ideas. I think there was a little bit of Java going on where it's like, hey, some of the people I talked to said that's the reason why you didn't get some of the candidates earlier that were, hey, look, I'm bringing my guy regardless. I heard that multiple times, but I also heard there were a few interviews that didn't go as well as some people thought they should have.
Mm-hmm.
So, you hear mixed things. Now, Football Scoop said that they did hear that Auburn was being a little pushy about Durkin, and that may have turned some people off, and then helped Florida with the full autonomy thing. Now, I can also go for the school of thought that says Auburn chose their words very wisely when pitching DJ Durkin. I think we can agree there. I like that. But
yeah.
But is it? Do you think that they should have pitched to DJ Durkin. Like, when you've got a guy who's been so successful, should you push DJ Durkin?
Yeah, again, yes.
Okay.
I do, because if your goal is player retention,
Right.
and it's like, if it ain't broke, no need to try to fix it,
Right.
then why not? If he is willing, and you know how desirable he is, I mean, because Alex Golesh is not bringing in some championship pedigree on defense. He's an
Yeah.
offensive guy.
Right.
So, it's a different day and age here with the portal and NIL, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and so these guys they played their ass off for Dirk in these last 3 games.
Right.
They
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And so it is. Look, I don't think that there is a right or wrong here necessarily. It's just whatever direction you decide to go, it better work. So if you
Right.
let DJ Durkin walk away, and Auburn's defense looks like crap next year, you know what everybody's gonna say.
Man, and please don't let him go to an opponent and they
Don't let him
spank
stay in
you.
the SEC.
And they spank you. Ooh, woo, woo, woo.
You're gonna have some problems. So this
Yeah.
is where I like DJ Durkin. I've met him. We talked for briefly, very briefly. But I love what the players had to say about him most. And
Right.
I definitely like the results on the field. That defense in the Iron Bowl, they came to play.
Man, Dirk. So
They
when I
came.
met Dirk, Dirk was so football focused. He's literally a football android. He's like a football robot. He's a cyborg. He is football, 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 and a little fun. But let's have fun and do football. Like, he's the type of guy that, you go on a date. He wants to go on a date in his football. Like, he's that type of guy, and I think it works well. But okay, Brian Harsin was given the same type of autonomy. Hugh Freeze, for the most part, was given the same type of autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
Mixed results. So I can understand how it's like, all right, maybe you should keep a guy or two. But when you give somebody the opportunity, I think you made a great point earlier. You don't have as much of a runway when it comes to, hey, we got to get rolling. Like, it's got to be instant landing. Boom. We got to take off as soon as we get there. The best way to do that is with people who are already familiar with what you do. So when it comes to retention, let's say DJ Durkin is retained and a lot of your players still leave. Would you still be okay with Durkin as your D coordinator?
Yes, I would be.
Okay.
I would be.
Why?
Right. I think that the system for development is staying with him.
Right.
So they'll go out and they'll find guys and they'll identify the talent and they'll reload and they'll do what they need to do.
Right.
And I think his track record is so proven there that I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah.
He can develop with the best of them. And you got the NIL dollars, so you go out and you find him some more dogs and then just let them cook. That's it.
I like that.
Guys are developing under him. And if they had been developing on offense the same way they had been developing under him, Auburn would be in the playoffs right now.
Right. True story. I can go for that. I mean,
yeah. You got dogs on both sides of the ball, dudes. Right.
Yeah, you're right.
The offense just never caught up from a development standpoint to the defense. Otherwise, Auburn would be a top 5 team in the country literally right now with the same talent, just better development and a better system. No reason they should have won the Iron Bowl by 2 scores Saturday night. They had enough talent to do that. But you keep it's in spots that you're missing things. And I for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how they keep putting Preston Howard out there, man. Like, these tight ends suck, folks. They're bad. And I don't bash players much, but like, this tight end play has been bad. It's been so bad. And so, offensively, again, Coach Ben, I love you, brother, but your position group is been a liability all season. Holds, all kinds of stuff. I mean, go back to Vanderbilt, and completely unnecessarily hold by Preston Howard.
Yeah, I mean,
Ashton Daniels is gone for a touchdown. You went to overtime. He scores there. The game's over.
yeah, yeah.
It's just in the worst spots they're making mistakes that are costing you games. And then I'll give you another one. Last night a Saturday night you're driving for the game-winning touchdown, and literally the best player on your team fumbles. I love Cam, and I just I'm not really putting it on Cam. I'm telling you, like, the mistakes that these guys are making are it's the process of lack. It's the product of lack of development.
Okay.
And so, again, he still needs coaching. And
Mhm.
you weren't going to undo a whole offseason and season of these dudes not being coached correctly in the last 3 weeks of the season. You just weren't going to do that. So you saw a lot of the same things continue to happen, even though it looked better. You got 400 yards of offense on Alabama, great, but you still made the plays that lost the game because that stuff was coached into them in the offseason.
Mm.
And it's going to take you at least the offseason to undo that. So I'm good with Dirk because I know this offseason, if no matter who you give him, he's going to coach winning characteristics into them. Golesh said this today. He said that he wants a process-driven football culture,
Okay.
right? And he talked about winning in the fourth quarter, and he said we are going to practice your fourth quarter mentality.
Mhm.
He talked about practicing that fourth quarter thing, man, that you need to win in the fourth quarter. I
Right.
like that, man. It was you ever get to the end of the game and you're always so baffled at how some players, and maybe it's easier said than done watching on TV where there's certain things they can't do,
Mhm.
right? Like, okay, you can't take a sack here or the game's over, or you have to throw the ball in the end zone because the game's going to be over. So you have to
Mhm.
give your team a shot to win. And then the player goes out and they do something that it's like, how could you do the only thing? I'll take you back to Brian Harson's overtime loss to Alabama. Tank goes out of bounds. All he
Right.
has to go down, the game's over.
Right.
And I'm like, where was the coaching to say, Tank, the only thing you can't do right here is go out of bounds. Just remember that. Okay, now go play football.
Right.
I don't get it. And somehow Tank didn't have that in him. And he made, again, a great player, but he made the one mistake you couldn't make. Ended up losing them the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
I put that on coaching. I do. So I want to see a process-driven culture like Alex Golesh is promising us that
Mhm.
produces winners in the fourth quarter.
What does a successful season look like in 2026?
Dukes, this question, I think we asked this question on our show, like what does it look like? Well, what does a winning season look like? For Alex Golesh in year one, I think it's got to be 8 wins, no matter what.
Okay, 8 wins.
8
How you
wins.
come up how'd you come up with that number?
Look, at 8, you can definitely say you're building something,
Okay.
and it's headed the right direction. And hear me out. When you look at that schedule, you win 8, you definitely beat somebody that nobody thought you were going to beat.
With that schedule, 1000%.
Yeah, 8 wins, you beat somebody nobody thought you were going to beat.
Right.
So you win 7, you probably lost at least one game that you weren't supposed to lose.
Right.
And that's how fine the line is for Auburn. So I think it's 8 wins or more. And you
Okay.
could come in and say, I have a process because you're going to have enough talent to win 8 games. I said this about last year, not this season, but 2024. Auburn went 5-7. They had enough talent to go 7-5.
Mhm.
The difference between 5-7 and 7-5 was not talent, it was coaching.
Mhm.
The difference between 7-5 And 9-3 or 10-2 might be talent.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go below 6 wins with a talent like what Auburn has had, going all the way back to Harsin, it is coaching that got you, or lack thereof, that got you there.
Man.
So if you're Golesh, you want the narrative to not be coaching.
Right.
By my stand, like, again, if you define it the way I define it, I'm saying you win 8, then coaching was not an issue. That's probably like, we need a dog here or there too to get better than 8 wins.
Right.
Or we didn't have the quarterback that we needed, but we still got 8 wins because we had just average quarterback play. Give me great quarterback play. What do we say about 2010 all the time? Without Cam Newton, that's like a 7-win team. Talent was the difference between 7-5 and undefeated.
A unicorn.
One massive talent.
Straight unicorn.
Right? So, but if they had won 5, you'd be like, no, man, that's coaching.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So, yeah, I mean, come on, man. I think 2010 is the perfect blueprint for what I'm talking about. One massive talent, and you win undefeated. Take him away, and you get what you got the first year with Gus and Chris Todd.
Right. Yeah.
8-5. But they still won 8.
Woo, 8. Look, man.
But they still won 8.
Man, what would I give for an 8-win season right now?
And Chris Todd that year broke records for Auburn touchdowns thrown by a quarterback in a single season. Chris Todd.
Where did he come from?
He's from like Elizabethtown, Kentucky or something.
Yeah,
like
I'm about to say,
yeah. Look, Chris is a friend, actually. And so he's come on my show a bunch of times. He helps break down film with us. I love Chris, man. I think he was a really good quarterback.
Yeah, Western Kentucky or Troy? Schools did.
Like coaching?
No, when he transferred in. Did he
it was some Kentucky like junior college, because Gus had been recruiting him. So he really liked him. And Chris is a really good football mind. He told the story about when he won the starting quarterback job.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he had been taking, like, he was running with like the 3rd and 4th team like all fall.
Okay.
He had no spring because he hurt his shoulder, so he had surgery. Comes in the fall, starts taking reps, with the 3rd and 4th string. And at the end, when they were going to name a starter, they started calling people in one by one. And in his mind, he was thinking, if I won the job, they're either calling me in first or they're calling me in last.
Okay.
You talk to all the people who lost first and the winner last, or you talk to the winner first and then you break the news to everybody after. Right. He got called in 3rd. So in his mind, he was just like, ain't no way I won it. Yeah. Right. When he went in there, they told him he was the starter. They were so shocked.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And he won a starting job in like 8 fall practices.
Wow. He was at Hutchinson Community College. By way of Texas Tech.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Because he played for Mike Leach first. And I think Graham Harrell was the quarterback there. And he told some great stories about practicing with Graham Harrell, and Graham trying to take like reps from him in practice, and he almost whooped his ass. And like, it was I love Chris Todd is my dude. But again, you won 8 games with him. Right. And you broke a few records, and I think that was the requisite for like an okay team. Right. Now, were they going to win a championship? No, they were still a Cam Newton away from winning the championship. They got that guy the next year, and then it went from 8 wins to 13-0.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm setting it at 8.
Okay.
For Alex, go out and get me 8. Anything less than 8, something's wrong in your process.
Okay.
I don't care how many players walk out the door. This is the portal era. You should be prepared for that, and they better have a plan coming in the door to go out and get who you need to get in the portal to put together a serviceable team and coach them to 8 wins.
Mike G, bringing the flames. Mike G, where can everybody find you, my brother?
Yeah, you guys already know the deal. Head on over to YouTube, subscribe. We are burning up right now, Dukes. Lots of great coverage over there. Hopefully, we'll have Ike out in Arizona to cover the UA Auburn basketball game. My niece is a sophomore at the University of Arizona. She's
nice.
called me up talking about, oh, can I get some tickets to the game? I'm like, you out there? You didn't register for student tickets? But yeah, follow me on Twitter at Mike Gittins, at the War Point, every social media platform. Also follow me on Instagram at Mike Gittins _.
Hey man, appreciate it, man. As always, and see you soon, man. Definitely a friend of the show, my brother.
Thanks, Dukes.